Elio guys, and welcome back to another episode of Infinite Magicraid. And in today's video we're going to be doing the Tower of Mark for the Force floor 20. Now this is a big jump, at least in my opinion, from floor like 19 and 18, because the enemies are now the lovely level 190 and they hit like a butt cheek on a stick here, and this little like ragtag crew right here is not going to cut it anymore, because if your DPS are frail and you're bringing them in here, it's not going to work. So like a A1 holder, he's not going to do the job because his stats are very small at this point in time. So my suggestion is if you're having issues with floor 20, regardless of what element that you have, one of the big focuses is that at this point in time, you should hopefully have at least two, guaranteed or reliable DPS that are probably A3, if not at A5, because it's really going to help your progression, especially through the rest of the Tower of Mark. And I do feel like you may have had enough time to get at least a second DPS up to A5. In terms of healers, use whatever healer that you have depending on what element that you're running from the Tower of Mark here. I'm once again rocking my freaking A2 Liz. A2 Reliant is going to be here as well. And I'm just going to keep Hardak in as basically a placeholder because he shouldn't be dying, even though he is also only A1. But due to his stat distribution and the way that he's built, he's just naturally super duper tanky. So he's there just to hang out, but I am going to drop holder for this example and actually slide in my Slackdo, who is another A5. Once again, assuming that if you've hit floor 20, hopefully by now you have at least two A5 DPSs. But let's go ahead and start this off. Alright, so we are on the first wave. Once again, these guys shouldn't be too problematic for you just because, well, we just began the stages. And Slackdo went ahead and made them guys pass away here. I should have probably saved all of this, though, for this stage right here. Now, this could be problematic, especially depending on what your team composition is, because not only do we have to worry about Senton and his counterattack / provoke, but there's two holders. In my opinion, though, you want to get rid of the holders because not only can they stack a whole bunch of bleed on your party members, but they also have counterattack to where even if you have an AoE unit like Slackdo, they're still going to be taking excess amount of damage because of counterattack proccing if you allow the holders to proc that off. But here's hoping that that doesn't happen. So one holder passed away already. I'm going to go ahead and shield up just in case here, just trying to emulate what will happen in a real life situation. And, we're going to try and prevent them from attacking as much as possible. But in case Holder and Senton and stuff like that wants to pop off their ultimates, we are at least shielded for the time being. Yep, because right there you guys saw the lovely counterattack. Everyone's favorite move in the game here. So if you can take him out, just go ahead and take him out. That way you don't have to worry about counterattack. And I do believe it's Leah, I want to say here, where when she passes away, she just hits your entire squad. So just be ready for that. But that one didn't do it, however. And now we are on to the lovely best part of the Tower of Mark, which is the boss stage. So with this, we not only have the lovely Catherine, but we have the lovely Serena, and then this POS right here. So once again, propping up Sia. And consolidation just really sucks here because is basically a big form of damage mitigation. So what you can try and do is either take out Serena first, depending on your DPS, or try and take out Kath. But I'm going to go ahead and try and take out Kath first and see how that works out for us, even though she isn't taking a ton of damage from the lovely Hardak. So both of those guys are down due to the lovely Sia, which is great here. So now we can kind of focus more so on the boss. But in this stage 2, if you're having DPS issues, it's more so of you kind of strategizing what unit that you're going to take out and when. Can I ignore Serena, for example? Probably not, depending on your team composition. But if you can ignore her because your DPS can now focus on the boss instead. Let me speed us up. And Hardak is absolutely contributing nothing here. And this shield is fairly annoying too. This shield is absolutely just thick, man. So if we can, okay, we have pierced it. Alright, let's try this. So she went through it a little bit and he is exposed. So we are getting some damage off. It's nothing extravagant, but it is some form of damage. Before he wants to go ahead and prop that up again, which Is it maybe timed of once his shield wants to come back? But if your DPS isn't up to par, then it's definitely a DPS issue if you're not being able to pierce through that shield. I do want to say, is it Frey from the blue mark is a very good shield killer as well. I was like, hold on, let me save the ultimate because the shield is going to eat some of that. And it's very important too with Catherine gone that you wait until she's gone before you decide to hit him, because no matter how much AoE that you have, if you're trying to factor in consolidation, mitigating the damage that your squad is doing to him, you're in for a bad time unless, you know, you're rocking super high level, like your entire units are just beefed out, which in that scenario you shouldn't have any problems anyways, but you know, to each his own. And look at that, Hardike is surviving, man. He's just here hanging out. He's not doing much, but he's here, man. Isn't that all that matters? You should have made him pass away. That is unacceptable, see ya. But bada boom, you guys. It took a little bit, and I could have obviously used better units, but emulating what you have here, as long as your main DPS is good to go and you have another secondary DPS that is reliable, it shouldn't be too much of a problem depending on your team composition. Just make sure that you guys are also bringing in a healer, of course, because that is necessary. And if you can squeeze out a unit that's maybe A2 or A3, that is the DPS also, just to help with your other two, depending on how much DPS your main two units can push out. That's really going to help you speed up the stage as well, because all it is just a damage check. If your damage isn't up to par, once again, readdress your gear. Are your characters scrolled up? Do you have emblems up there? Do your emblems make sense? Have you guys been checking out the videos? You know, so hopefully things will buff out for you guys. But yeah, that is floor 20 of the Tower of Mark for Force. And yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.
Infinite Magicraid. Play to slay.